Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will talk about storing mutable values with the ref hook. Before that, if you haven't seen the previous video on this ref hook, please watch the video so that you will understand what I am saying. Let's get started with the video. We are back in the Visual Studio Code. We are using the same component that we made in the previous video. Before we begin coding, let's think about one use case to help us understand this topic. So, consider the following scenario. We have a web application that will change its themes based on the color palette selection. That is, we have some color palettes in the application, and whenever a user selects a color, we have to update the color to all the elements in the application, which is theme selection. So in this case, when a user selects a color, we must save the color value to a variable which will then be applied to all existing elements, correct? Similarly, in this component, whenever a user clicks the button, we will save the randomly selected color to a variable and display it in the console statement. We are not going to update that color on other elements. So in simple terms, we are going to store the mutable values, which is a selected color, in the ref hook. That's it. I hope you understand what I am saying, right? Let's create a new constant variable called selected color that is equal to useRef of null, which means we are initializing this ref hook with the null value. So as a result, React.js internally assigns the current property with the null value, right? Fine. These points were discussed in our previous video itself. We already know that this style paragraph method will be executed on the button's click event. So in this method, we will store the randomly selected color in the variable that we have created. So selected color.current is equal to colors of random color. The .current is mentioned in this case because React.js doesn't internally update the current property when we use it for mutable values. So we must explicitly use the .current to update the property's value. In fact, React has no idea what we are doing inside the style paragraph method. It simply executes this method whenever the button is clicked. That's it. I hope you understand what I am saying, right? Then we will log a statement to see the selected color in the console window. We will now save our changes and start the application. As you can see in the browser, whenever we click the button, we can able to see the console statement for randomly selected color, right? So here we are mutating the variable which we have created using the ref hook. Now let's add the effect hook to verify whether this change triggers the effect hook. We are back in the VS Code and this time we will include the effect hook. So use effect with the callback method. Because we already know that this effect hook accepts the callback method. And inside this callback method, we will log a statement. If you are not sure what an effect hook is, please watch the video from the playlist. Then, as a dependency, we will add selected color.current. So, whenever there is a change to this variable, and if that change triggers the effect hook, then we can able to see this console statement. Let's save our changes and return to the browser. As you can see in the screen, when we click the button, we can able to see the changes of selected color in the browser console window, right? But the console statement inside the effect hook is not executing correctly, which means the changes in the ref hook do not trigger the effect hook. Am I right? So, this doesn't cause the component to re-render. As I stated in my previous video, in my opinion, we should not compare this ref hook to the state hook. Let's go over that in more detail so you understand why I am saying this. Now we are back in the Visual Studio Code. Let's create a new constant variable called custom selected color, which is equal to an object definition with current and null as property and value. Here we are not using any ref hook, so this is completely a user-defined variable. Am I correct? Now in the click event, let's update the color to this user-defined variable as well. So custom selected color.current is equal to colors of random color. And then in the next line we will add the console statement. Now we know that whenever we click the button, we are updating this user defined variable as well. Let's add an effect hook for this user defined variable changes. So dependency would be custom selected color.current. As a result, if there are any changes to this variable, the component should re-render. Am I right? Let's save our changes and return to the browser. As you can see in the console tab of the browser, whenever we click the button, the console statement that we have in the effect hook is not visible. This means the changes to the custom variable are not triggering the effect hook. Am I right? Which in turn doesn't cause the component to re-render. So as a result, both the user-defined variable and the ref hooks are behaving in the same way. I hope you understand what I am trying to say. As far as I can tell, the ref hook and the user-defined variable behave in the same way when it comes to storing mutable values. So in this case, I won't compare this ref hook to the state hook, because the state hook is for managing the states and the ref hook is for accessing the DOM elements. We are just tweaking the ref hook to store the mutable values because it returns the initial object. So it is pointless to confuse yourself by comparing this ref hook to the state hook. If you have any questions or doubts, please leave them in the comment section. Also, whenever you watch a tutorial, please practice it at least once so that you can recall it later. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video.